Yomא Perek Beis Mishnah Dalet. We've discussed till now the first and second lottery that took place in the Beis Hamikdash. Now this Mishnah is going to set out what the third and fourth lots were in the Beis Hamikdash. And as mentioned previously, there's a machlokus whether this is referring to all year round or whether this is referring to all year round plus Yom Kippur. So we'll come to that Mr. Hashem shortly. So says the Mishnah, Hapayas Hashlishi, the third lot, Chadoshim Laktores, those who are new to the avodah of the Ketores, i.e. those Kohanim who had not yet performed the mitzvah of Ketores, Bo Vafisu, come and draw lots. Now this is of course a reference to the Ketores, which is involves taking the incense and burning them on the Mizbeach HaZohov. The Mizbeach HaZohov is the inner Mizbeach. Of course there were two Mizbeachos, the main Mizbeach, which was in the outside in the courtyard in the Ezra's Kohanim of the Beis Hamikdash, and then the smaller Mizbeach, the Mizbeach HaZohov, which was in the Kodesh, together with the menorah and the Shulchan. And the job of the Ketores would be to bring the Ketores and to burn them on the Mizbeach HaZohov. Now, the Mishnah says it's dafka chadoshim l'Ketores. Why? Because the Gemara brings a brisa which says, the pasuk in V'zos HaBracha, Yosimu Ketores ba'pecha, Beirach Hashem chelo yapol yodov tirtzeh. There is a special bracha, there is a special guarantee or assurance of wealth and tremendous bracha for any Kohen who would perform the avodah of the Ketores. And therefore, clearly it was a very popular thing to do. And in order to spread this bracha as far as possible, there was a rule that no one who had already done it could do it again. It was a one-time opportunity. In fact, the Gemara says that there were so many Kohanim wanting to do it, they never actually had to repeat it. That another Kohen who had already done it would have to do it again, because it was a very popular thing, and there were so many Kohanim that they managed to spread the bracha far and wide. So, Dafka, it was Chadoshim, it was new people who had not yet done it, would come along and draw the Ketores. Interestingly enough, there is a sort of a parallel halacha in Hilchas Mila in Yerodea with regard to sandakos. So the person who has more than one child, the halacha says he should stick with the same moil, but each time he should choose a different sandak. And similarly to the Ketores, there is a bracha for a sandak of Ashirus, that a person who is a sandak gets tremendously wealthy. And therefore, again, we try, and maybe that's the idea, that you try and spread it out. You offer a different sandak. If you have more than one son, you make more than one bris. Incidentally, they once asked the stipler, that many people wanted to honor the stipler to be a sandak at their son's bris. And someone once asked him, why is it that although there's a bracha of Ashirus for someone who is a sandak, the person said to him, listen, you've been a sandak many times and I don't see the Ashirus. He lived in a very simple, small home in Bnei Brak, and there was no signs of any Ashirus or any wealth. And the stipler responded that he had indeed received the bracha of Ashirus because he had been blessed with Ashirus in what was important to him. And what was important to him, of course, was his learning and his Sfarim, the Kehillas Yaakov. And he said that in his own lifetime, the Kehillas Yaakov, the Sfarim, have been very well received and were very popular, and therefore he certainly had received the bracha of the Ashirus that is due to a sandak. What exactly is the connection between a sandak and Ketores? I'm not sure, but there is certainly a parallel there. The Ramban, as we mentioned previously, is of the opinion that these lots took place on Yom Kippur as well. So the question that the Ramban needs to address is, the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash on Yom Kippur was performed by the Kohen Gadol, and that included the Ketores. So why do you need to have a lot in order to determine who's going to do this avodah? It was clearly the Kohen Gadol. So the Ramban explains that the Ketores actually involved two parts. The first part would be to bring the pan full of coals from the outer Mizbeach to the inner Mizbeach, and the second, which is the main avodah of the Ketores, is to take the Ketores and burn them on the inner Mizbeach, on the Mizbeach HaZohov. Now, all year round, the Kohen who would win the Ketores would have another Kohen assist him, but he would come along, and the Kohen who won the lottery would actually burn the incense himself, and a friend, whoever was standing nearby, would help him take the pan inside. But on Yom Kippur, everyone wanted to do that. Why? Because the avodah on Yom Kippur, as discussed, is primarily done by the Kohen Gadol. So everyone wanted to sort of participate at some level, if they could, or with the avodah on Yom Kippur. Plus, it was conducive a little bit, if you're even, peripherally, you're sort of secondary helping the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. They also wanted to get the bracha of Asheris as well. So therefore, they needed a pious lottery specifically on Yom Kippur as who was going to help the Kohen Gadol in the avodah of the Keturos. That's how the Ramban learns. Others say this is just referring to all year round. Okay, so that's the third lot. The fourth lot, Haravi. V'Haravi Chadoshim Im Yeshonim. You would have Kohanim who had already done this and who had not yet done it, and that was Mima le'evarim min hakevesh lamizbeach. Who would actually bring up the evarim, the parts of the animal, from the kevesh to the mizbeach. As mentioned in Mishnah Gimel, in the previous Mishnah, in the second lot, the Kohanim were chosen. Well, one Kohen was chosen, and all the ones next to him would have the rest of the job. And that was who was going to bring the animal parts, the parts of the korban tomid after it was shechted, who was going to shecht it and then bizarek it and bring the various parts of the animal to the kevesh of the mizbeach and place them towards the bottom of the kevesh. That's what we said in the second lot, in Mishnah Gimel. Now, this fourth lottery was the next stage. You're going to take the actual parts of the animal, walk them to the top of the mizbeach, and throw them onto the fire on top of the mizbeach. And that was what this Ravi, this is the fourth lot. And again, the Ramban is going to have to explain why do they need to do this lottery on Yom Kippur? It must be the Kohen Gadol who's doing it. So the Ramban explains that the Kohen Gadol had a lot to do on Yom Kippur. So in order to minimize his work, he wouldn't do the whole avodah. He wouldn't actually go up and down the kevesh, up and down the ramp, and take all the various parts and go to the top of the kevesh again and throw them in. But rather, another Kohen would come along and would help him out. And they would sort of pass the animal parts of the tomid to the Kohen Gadol, and he would sort of toss the animal parts into the into the fire on top of the mizbeach. And the pious, according to the Ramban, this fourth pious would be who would have the privilege of passing the body parts to the Kohen Gadol to throw into the fire of the mizbeach. One final point, and that is it's machlokas rishonim, how many Kohanim were involved in the pious Haravi. Some learn that it's only one Kohen. He would actually merit to take the animal parts of the tomid and throw them into the mizbeach, into the fire of the mizbeach. Others say that it would be the same number of Kohanim who were involved in the previous Mishnah, and they were designated various parts of the animal, and there would be a whole procession of many Kohanim taking the various parts and placing them on the foot of the Mizbeach, on the lower part of the Kevesh, So too, there would be the same number who would then merit to take them up and to throw them into the Kevesh. So there's a machlokas how many were involved, either one or several, in this fourth and final lot. That is the end of Mishnah Dalet.